People always ask me for videos on like real life examples, and I have one for you. It's kind of big. It happened yesterday. It's always hard for me to think of something to share with a real life example of discipline or submission or whatever, because they happen so often throughout the day. It's hard to like think back and remember, how did this go and how did I handle it and whatever. But this one's fresh in my mind, and it was kind of big, so I remember it very well. And it will be sharing a little more information than, personal information that I normally don't do, but I think it's necessary to explain the situation well and give a good idea of the point. So basically, my husband gets a bonus quarterly at work, and he got it, and he didn't tell me about it because he wanted to surprise me with it. And he went and got something big without discussing it with me. And I've talked a lot about, or I've mentioned in comments and stuff, that I handle the finances at home. I do the budgeting and stuff. He's put that on me. He thinks I'm better at it, so I do it to help our family out. So I manage the finances, and I didn't know that there was this money that came in, and then he went and spent it without even talking to me about it. Of course, I was not happy about it. Totally upset about it, because we have a vacation coming up. I want to save. There's things that I'm trying to do. And then he goes and buys this toy for the kids that is way more than I would ever want to spend on a toy, and that I know they're just going to play with for like a week and then never touch it again. Let the grandparents buy stuff like that. But whatever. So he gets home and he's all excited and he tells me about it. And I'm definitely the nerd in the marriage, and he is the free spirit. If you've ever listened to Dave Ramsey, you know what I mean by that. The nerd is the more like, no, let's save the money, let's that plan. And he's more like, yay, let's have fun. And he takes me out and makes me have more fun, and I bring him in and control his free spirit. So it's a good balance. But and this is the perfect picture of the free spirit and the nerd. So I'm freaking out that he decided to go spend this money without talking to me and without, considering our vacation and savings and all that. And so I'm like, okay, Lord. The kids run into the house and they're like, Mommy, Daddy got this. And I'm like, oh, I hope they're wrong about this. So I go out and I'm like, babe, did you literally just buy this? Did you seriously just buy this? And he's like, yeah, all excited. So immediately I'm like, I don't know how to respond. What do I do right now? I have many options. I can either go nuts and lay it out on the, just let my emotions speak, which would have been like, what are you thinking? I can't believe you. Why would you do this? Which are all disrespectful, demeaning, making someone feel like they can't think for themselves, like what you think's better, what you would do is better, your way is the right way, they're wrong. And that would be unloving and unkind, horrible example of Christ's love, and a horrible example of a respectful wife to my children. So that's one option. Obviously, all the bad things I just listed about it make it probably not the best option. So I definitely just controlled myself and tried to pray through, Lord, how do I respond to this right now? Because that's what I wanted to say. And of course, I didn't want to say it either, because I knew that later I would realize how wrong it was and the damage is done. So I just, I was like, babe, do you want me to speak to you as a wife or a financial advisor right now? Because as a wife, I'm going to say, cool, that's great. Thanks for doing that for us. He's the breadwinner. It's his money. He can spend however he wants. He's the leader of this home. He can make the decisions. He's not doing anything wrong. He's not sinning. I can think that way. But as a financial advisor, then I want to say, well, what about savings? What about the vacation in a month and a half? What about this? What about that? So how do you want me to approach this, babe? And he was like, well, I would like to hear both. I was like, okay, well, and I basically just told him what I just said. As a financial advisor, did you think about all these things? And then as a wife, I'm going to say, okay, and just support you. And he was like, great, so I could see the burst bubble, coming over him, which I didn't want to do, but at the same time, I did want to do. I wanted him to take that thing back right now to the store and get our money back, because we need it for other stuff. Well, I've laid out my thoughts, my concerns, my opinion, and what I think we should do. Now I have another option. Continue to lay it out, continue to communicate it, continue to talk about it and ruin our day, or just think, Lord, I've laid out my thoughts, I've laid out my opinion, I've laid out what I would do. Now it's in his hands. He's the leader, he's the head of our home, and whatever he decides, I'm just going to go with it. You know, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to let a measly dollar amount come between my husband and me. That's, you know, the other option. And of course, that's the route that God's grace helped me to take. And so the kids are all excited. They wake up from nap and they're like, Daddy, let's build it, you know, and I'm just quiet because I don't know what to say. Honestly, I don't want to be like, yeah, let's build it. I'm just like washing the dishes, thinking, okay, whatever he decides, waiting to hear him either say, yeah, let's do it, or guys, I'm sorry, we're going to take it back. And inside I'm thinking, please let him take it back. Please let him tell the kids that we're taking it back. God, please, you know. So he comes into the kitchen and he's like, babe, how are you going to feel if I decide to keep it? I was like, babe, I've already told you how I feel. I do not think it's a wise financial decision at all, but whatever you decide, I'm going to support you, you know? And so in the end, he decided to keep it. And, you know, just rolling with it. I'm trying to not look at the thing, and every time I see it, think, we could have used that money for this and this and this. I'm trying to not let this new object in my home come between my husband and me, because it's lifeless, it's not important, it's a material thing, and my marriage is more important than the money that was spent on that, than whatever. It's my marriage is the foundation. It's more important. And so I have decided to just be okay with it. And the Lord is so gracious and wonderful that he's given me the ability to do that and to do it well. There was no argument, no conflict. I didn't nag him. I just told him I felt very clearly. He knows how I feel about it. And now that the decision is made, I can either have a grudge, be all bitter, be all resentful, keep on making little smart aleck remarks, or just wipe it away and pretend like, not pretend, but that's it. I've communicated it. Obviously the decision has been made to keep it, and now I am in this new place, and the new place is support and approval, and it's okay. And I'm not saying like if he asked me again that I wouldn't honestly say it wasn't a good financial decision. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to be honest about the way I feel, but I'm not going to make his life living hell for it. I'm not going to torment the poor man. I'm not going to make him feel terrible and as a result make everybody around us suffer for my annoyance with his decision. That's just foolishness. And this is the peaceful route to take. I don't agree with it. He knows that. That doesn't mean he needs to be reminded of it every millisecond of his life. And that doesn't mean that I'm not still commanded to love him and respect him and submit to him. So I can be miserable or I can be happy. And I'm going to be happy because my marriage is more important than what I think about what we could have done with that money. So this is my real life example. Also, I do want to throw out there, he didn't do anything wrong. So for anybody who wants to come back and be like, well, he shouldn't have done that. Who says? You? Me? Who says that my way's better? Who says that your way's better? Who says there is a way? He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't sin. He didn't do anything immoral. He didn't betray me in any way. There's nothing wrong with what he chose to do. Just because it's not what I would have done, or what you would have done, or what you think should be done, doesn't mean that he's wrong. So there's nothing to, the only approach to this is, he's the head, he made a decision, the wife who he loves and cherishes expressed her opinion about it, and he still chose the route he wanted to choose. And now, as a wife, I am choosing the route of support and love and submission versus the route of misery and making him feel like garbage. And that's submission, and that's respect, and that's roles and following your husband in love. So I wanted to lay that out because I tried to make a revisiting submission video and people still just don't seem to get it. And a real life example is such a good way to just like give a scenario and then see what people say. Because I really don't see any other route to take except a miserable route other than submission and love and support. And you can't point the finger at him because there's nothing morally wrong with what he did. So that is out too, you know. I hope this is helpful, and I hope this satisfies all the people that have asked for some real life scenarios. Thanks so much. Have a great day.